Hey guys, welcome back. Guess what we're making today? We're making a yummy breakfast that would satisfy all sweet lovers' sweet tooth. And it is going to be a cherry chocolate. That's right, you heard me. Cherry and chocolate monkey bread. We'll be back. I'm going to show you what is going in this. You definitely are going to need some semi-sweet chocolate chips and some cherry pie filling just to start. We're also going to use cinnamon, sugar, and some biscuits in a can. Yep, that's right, biscuits in a can. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're going to start on the cherry chocolate monkey bread. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some of these biscuits. We're going to cut those up into fours, but we're going to take, calls for a half a cup of sugar. And by the way, we're making half a batch. We're not making a whole batch. And it calls for half a cup of sugar, but I'm not filling this all the way up to half a cup. I'm just going to not do as much sugar. And then you need a teaspoon of cinnamon in there. And you're going to mix that all up. Basically, you're making cinnamon sugar. All right, and then we are going to open this can of biscuits. I'm going to show you how we're going to coat these, cut these. Take out your biscuits. And now the full recipe would call for 3 cans of biscuits. We're doing a smaller version, so we are using 1 can of biscuits today. And we are going to use half of a can of the cherry pie filling, which it typically calls for a full can. And we're going to use half a cup of the Toll House chocolate chips because it calls for a full cup. Now we've cut if you notice, we cut the biscuits into quarters, like so. Cut it in half. Half again, half again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put all these in our cinnamon sugar. And I'm going to cut all these, and I'll be back in a minute to show you the rest of the recipe. We're going to put all these with cinnamon and sugar, and we'll be back in a minute. And I'm going to show you the remainder of the recipe as soon as we coat all these biscuits with cinnamon and sugar. I've got all the biscuits in here, and as you can see, we are incorporating all that cinnamon and sugar. I didn't use a whole half a cup of sugar. We don't want as much sugar. Plus, the chocolate chips and the cherries is going to make it sweet enough already. So then what we're going to do is we're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And you're kind of follow the biscuit directions, but it's going to take just a little longer. So you're going to leave that in about 20 minutes. You're going to grease your bump pan. And then in a minute, we're going to show you where you're going to mix half a cup of chocolate chips and some cherry pie filling. And on the top, I've got some little semi-sweet chocolate chunks that I'm going to sprinkle on the top or on the bottom for a more chocolatey taste. And we'll be back in a minute. I have all the biscuits and the cinnamon and sugar in the bowl. Now look at that. That is 1 can. That is a lot, guys. If you're making this for a crowd, use the 3 cans. But if you're making this for a small family like ours, we are going to just use the 1. And I think that's going to be a lot. So what we're going to do today is we're going to add that half a cup of chocolate chips. That's a lot of chocolate chips too. We're going to add half of the can of the cherries. That's about half the can. We're going to mix this all together. I don't know why, but it looks good already to me anyway. It smells really good, especially that chocolate. Make sure you have all that incorporated. Whoops. Yeah, I'm a messy cook. Y'all, look at that. Yum. And now what I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to sprinkle a few of these chocolate chunks that I have left over from a couple other recipes. I'm going to sprinkle a few into our greased bump pan. And I just sprinkled some ham in the bottom of that, or sprinkled the pan with, I'm just going to sprinkle some of those in the bottom. make it extra chocolatey. And here we go. We're gonna go ahead and start putting this in the Bundt pan. And I'm going to grab a spatula to get all that goodness out of there. Then I'm going to use the spatula and get all that cherry, cinnamon, sugary mess out of the bowl. We're going to sprinkle it where I see where it needs some. There's some chocolate chips in there. And then we're going to bake this for about 20 minutes. You want to look at it when it's nice and golden brown. It will be ready, and we'll be back in a few minutes. It's all ready for the oven, and as I mentioned in the previous minute, it is going to be 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Guys, look at that. Isn't that yummy looking? Yum, 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 yum. And it is so huge. That was 1 can of biscuits. Now we're getting ready to flip this over and put it on a pan. Alright guys, you're going to flip that out. Now, sometimes this is going to get sticky, so you want to make sure you grease that pan. And I put all that extra chocolate on there, so we're just going to put that out there. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. There you have it, your chocolate cherry monkey bread.